Hey, what's up, Culture Job? This video is about how to fire bad employees. You asked for it, this is how. All right, this one's a doozy, but let's talk about it because I know a lot of people that are here and leaders, everybody's in a different place in their leadership journey and capability and what they've dealt with. And I know for a lot of organizations and leaders, this is the hardest thing to have to deal with. You've got an employee on your team, they're not accountable, they're toxic, they're bad, they're an underperformer. How do you get rid of that person? And so let's just dive into it. The other thing I want to say, disclaimer, I am not the world's authority on this kind of stuff. I've got lots of experience. I have a lot of thoughts and opinions about this. There are millions of resources for you. If you Google this, YouTube, there's lots and lots of resources to help you with these different parts of the process. Do other research, but this is my thought. First of all, in this process, there's two things that you need as a leader. Number one, the courage to tell the truth. So many leaders struggle so hard with dealing with underperforming or poor behaving employees because they do not have the courage to tell somebody the truth. And the part that is adjacent to that is you have to also have the courage to make the tough decision to actually have somebody lose their job. Somebody who's not turning things around, they're choosing to lose their job. You have to have the courage to do that, to tell the truth, and to actually make the choice to get somebody off of your team. Okay, here's my approach. Number one, coaching. The first resort is not firing somebody because they're performing badly or they're behaving poorly. You, as a leader, need to have the skill to sit down with that person and be honest with them and tell them exactly what's going on. This conversation, this coaching part of the element is absolutely crucial. That I can sit down with you and say, hey, this is what I'm seeing from you. This is the pattern of behavior that I'm observing from you. This is what it looks like. It needs to look like this instead. Also, in that conversation, if we're talking about not just like this is a little bit of performance correction, it's like you're going to lose your job if this doesn't change. That needs to come out of your mouth. The consequences of this not changing is that you will lose your job. And I think in coaching conversations like this, we want to create partnership. Even if it's severe, even if the consequences are, if this doesn't turn around, you're going to lose your job. As a leader, for your coaching to be effective, you also have to come from a place of care, support, concern, and investment in that person's success. Right? If I'm having that conversation with somebody else, I'm also saying to them, I don't want that conversation. I don't want to tell you that you're losing your job. I don't want to have to fire you. I don't want to have to put you on a performance improvement plan. But you need to understand the severity of this conversation and the consequences of this. I'm seeing this from you. It needs to look like this instead. This is the impact of like your behavior, your performance on the team or whatever. And like, this is what it needs to look like. And also part of that conversation is having that person not be able to misunderstand what you're saying. It's really important to be like, do you understand? Are you clear about the consequences of this? Are you clear about what I need to see from you? Be specific, be direct. If this is on the path of letting somebody go, you have to have a timeline. You have to have very specific deliverables of saying, by this time, I need to see these things from you. We're gonna check back in this time. It needs to be so crystal clear from you to be able to coach somebody. And what we want is for them to turn around their behavior, turn around their performance, and be successful here. We don't want them to lose their job and be a failing poor employee. But if they do not choose to take responsibility and turn things around, then you also have to mean it. And you have to tell them the truth. You are going to lose your job. Part two of this, and every HR person in the world is gonna be like, thank you. You have to document everything. When you have that conversation with the employee, you need to like, this is when we have the conversation, this is the time of day, this is what was said. It's also helpful if you send an email with a recap after the conversation to that employee and to HR that says, this is exactly what was talked about, this is what was decided upon, here are the consequences of everything that we talked about, to ensure that it's correct, that it's accurate, that there's no misunderstanding. We don't want to come back 2 weeks later or a month later and have the employee be like, I thought you meant this. Crystal clear. And documenting things helps you legally. These are the conversations I have with this employee before I let them go. You have to document things well. You can't just be like, have 2 or 3 conversations, let somebody go. You have to document things. And the third and final part of this is that you have to actually fire somebody. You have to let them go. When you've told someone, this is what I need to see from you, I need to see it exactly like this, exactly by this date, and they do not meet those conditions, they are choosing to lose their job. It's not a surprise. No one should ever be surprised by like, oh wow, I'm losing my job. It's like we've had 2 of these very specific conversations and now I'm telling you that you have to clear out your desk. It can never be a surprise. You have to have the courage to go and actually let this person go. And I promise you that this employee who is underperforming, who's behaving badly, the second that they leave the organization, every other employee around them that stays on the team is gonna be like, oh my God, thank you. Why did it take so long? Why did we put up with this person's behavior, or their performance, their toxicity? And so many organizations have 1 or 2 people on a team that are way past their expiration date of joy. They need to go. They're miserable, they're happy being miserable, and other people dread coming to work because of this employee. You have to get rid of these people. You have to do everything in your power to coach them and bring them up and turn them around, but like, They are choosing. If they don't choose to turn things around, change their behavior, change their performance, they are actively choosing to lose their job, but only if you are crystal clear with them about the process and what's going to happen and the consequences, and you have to mean it. But also, you can do this and not come from a place of like cruelty and being mean and power and authority. These conversations with an employee can happen of, how can I support you? What do you need from me? But make no mistake, what I need to see from you needs to look like this exactly, or this is the consequences of that. And this is what's going to happen. And then when it happens, you let them go. That's the process. As a leader, these are the hardest conversations to have, and you have to have the courage to have these conversations, to make these choices, and to coach people, but also to let people go. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel, or you can sign up for the Culture Drop mailing list and get these emails and videos right into your inbox.